Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Relentless Theory podcast. Today, again, with our friend Leon Berfelde, Hyrox Pro and strength and conditioning coach, and myself, Peter Schaller, the founder of Relentless Theory and a performance coach. And yes, today we're talking about how to build a good training routine, not just for performance, but for health, for longevity. We'll hit on routines, habits, and just a bigger picture of training, and so you can feel good for life. So let's jump into it. Welcome, Leon. I know you've been training for a long time of your life. So um, actually, let me ask you a question at the start here. So having a routine, obviously, especially you going into your third Hyrox race right now, coming from a really good off season, what does it mean to you, like having a routine and like sticking to a routine, having that consistency, um, just compared to maybe how you were training back in the day when you didn't really have that?
Like, do you mean routine a program or like routine as in like weekly training? Like program specific or
Well, I think like the program would be part of your routine, kind of. Like not talking about the program itself. I'm more talking about like you having like good habits, like a good routine around your training and the way you show up and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I'm sure. Like I've been like sticking to this like routine. Like if we talk about like having fitness as part of your routine, I've been doing this ever since I was 12 years old when it comes to fitness specifically. Like for me, it started basically when I started playing football. Ever since then, sports has been like a part of my routine. And then obviously the sport itself changed. And now it's high rocks. Back then it was football. When you had because back then I started like every other kid with like 2 training sessions per week, like football training sessions, and then Saturday or Sunday would be your match day. And then like on days where you weren't playing football, you'd be like out on the field with friends after school and just like kick around the ball. So I'd say that was my earliest routine. And then honestly I just had to substitute it um with with fitness or whatever I'm doing now. And I've been playing sports and I've been doing fitness for so long that if I weren't doing it now, like which is like there'd be like a huge lag, right? I would I wouldn't know what to do with my my time fully because it's such an important and integral part of my life, which obviously makes it easy to stick to a program. But yeah, I've had a routine ever since I was 4 years old, I'd say, which makes it easy now.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you?
Well, it's kind of the same for me. And like I feel the difference is that when football gave me the routine, it was kind of like a laid out routine for me. And there was people that kept me accountable and you showed up for the team, for the coaches, you had your parents pushing you. I think the real difference is now to what I do now, especially looking at like training for these races, being like an entrepreneur and building my own business, and living in a different country and like kind of doing it all by myself mostly. Like obviously I have friends around me and people that support me, but in the end it comes down to me if I show up on a day and like do the things I'm supposed to do, or if I just be lazy and maybe spend today is a Sunday morning and I've been up since like 5 just doing a bunch of stuff like editing. Like there's so many things that come into it, right? So, and I look at all these things and say they're all part of my routine. Obviously, my most important part is my training. I would say that's like what keeps me sane through all of the other stuff. Yeah, just having that motivation from within as well to kind of do all that stuff. And I feel that's something that I've built only recently again because after I stopped playing pro, I went through like a period where I went traveling a lot. I lived in Germany for a little bit, and honestly, at that time my habits weren't the greatest. Like I did probably party too much and drink too much and just indulge in that all those sides of life maybe a little too much and didn't really work on myself as much as I would do now. So I feel like that's been quite a change for me from like transition from football where I have my routine laid out to me by someone and I just follow it, to then kind of not having a routine, just living free for a little bit and kind of finding myself in whatever ways. And now going back into that, really being like disciplined and diving into those those good habits, good routines. And I feel like that's something that it wasn't always easy, that change for me, you know, like until you realize that that consistency really starts to compound and that you're having a structure like helps you to that you don't have to make decisions, you know, it's just part of your day and it's gonna happen. Like it's you treat it like an appointment with someone
Yeah.
else. So like just having the tools now that I can build those structures myself for myself and help others to build those structures too. I think that's really something that I enjoy doing now, and that's a big thing that I look at too when I do my coaching, like with Relentless Theory, with the clients I work with. A lot of it is still the fitness part or nutrition part, but one of the main factors now, two of main topics is definitely like how to build good routines and how to stick to good habits and like how to stay present from your mindset and all that stuff. I think it's all like connected in the end. It's all one big topic if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah. I think what you said, um, about not having to think about what you do. I think this is what routine is all about, right? This is what defines like the term routine, right? As you build something up, like you work on something, you lay it out, and then you stick to it, and then you don't have to think about it anymore, right? It's your routine. It's like I think routine and habit goes hand in hand. Um, and then once, for example, like your fitness routine is in place, right? You don't have to think about it anymore. It doesn't take like that much effort anymore to stick to it, right? Because it's kind of running on autopilot, and then you can focus on another routine, right? Like and it can be in a different part of life. And like there was I once heard like someone say, and that was a good analogy. I think it's an analogy. Like I didn't really pay attention during like German lessons, but I think it is an analogy. So he was talking about like habits and routine, and he was saying that it's like imagine like a routine and a habit being like a plane. And like to start the plane, like the engine, the aircraft, like it takes a lot of like energy, right? And you must be super focused on trying to get that plane to start, right, and get it into the air. But once the airplane has reached a certain height, right, it kind of runs on autopilot, right? And once that point is reached, like you could basically leave like the plane, jump out, and then focus on getting another plane into the air. And once that runs on autopilot, again, you can focus on another plane. And I really like that analogy. Again, I think it's an analogy. I don't know the exact term.
No, I think you're right with analogy there. That's a great analogy actually, because if you look at each airplane being one good habit, for example, like it takes a while to like get it up there, but once it's up there, you leave it and it's just gonna run with you, right? And it just feels like literally, it feels like it's on autopilot. Like that's how I feel like when I go through my morning routines or my evening routines, where I just like do a few things that I know serve me well. They're little things, but they just start me off in a good way or like wind me down so I'm ready to go to bed. And it takes like a few weeks maybe, or like not even weeks. Like I would say if I do something consistently for a week or two, it already feels like it's getting much easier. And there's actually science behind it. I took this master class on neuroscience not too long ago, and this woman, she was talking about all different kind of things of the neuroscience, like how your brain works in connection with your body. It was really interesting. And one of the things she said is that everything you do new, everything you try out, you have to build like new neural pathways in your brain. So every time you try something new, like even if it's just as a kid when you try to cut like something out of paper with the scissors, like the first time it's gonna look like shit. But then the second time it's gonna be a bit better and a bit better. And that's just how it works. Like time and consistency will build those neural pathways and will make things to just like feel super easy and smooth for you. And I think that's a really like that's kind of the flow state. What you're in at one point, you know, where you just flow and things are. I mean, your routine might look crazy, especially leading up to a race, looking at your schedule full of training plan, but it might seem fairly easy to you because you're just so used to it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it seemed like a big effort anymore. And I think that's the flow state. It's like a good state to be in. But then you also got to be careful, like how long are you in a flow state until it becomes almost too easy and you have to like reassess, and maybe change a few things around. But that's like the whole world of programming and programming your own plans. I think that's
Yeah,
all part of it. You would know all about that.
yeah. Um, yeah, and I think like we also have to talk about like motivation and discipline. I mean, a lot of people have said that like motivation is like very short term. Like if you want to get into like if you want to get a fitness routine, right, you might be motivated for 1 or 2 weeks. Like after that, you need to rely on discipline, right? Because motivation fades, and then yeah, discipline is what makes you stick to that routine until you're in that flow state.
For sure. No, I agree totally. And that's what I talk about. Like when I just went to Cape Breton University to run a performance program there. And a performance program with athletes is more about like your mindset and being present, your good habits, you know, how to build good habits, especially those guys that are at university level and that want to make it pro, they still want to push their limit. I think those are all good things for them to kind of pick up on. Honestly, I didn't really get those resources when I was their age. Like, there wasn't really any coach coming out to us talking about that kind of stuff. And I mean, you can pick a lot of stuff up online, but I just never made the effort back then. You know, you're young and you don't really think about these things. But now looking back, I wish I like knew some of that stuff and knew how to use those tools. Yeah, it was really good going in there at Cape Breton University and talking to those guys about it because they picked it up like they were really into it. And these guys are like 18, 19. They're at university.
Mm.
They be just like, you know what? I don't really care. If someone tells me I should have a good bedtime routine and morning routine. At that age, I probably would have said like, oh, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest, because I just want to have some fun too, you know. But like giving them the information and telling them like what it can do to you, what it can do for you if you stick to a good routine, and how much it can change your daily outlook or your life even, and will just make your life more purposeful. I think if you constantly and working towards a goal and you know where you're gonna go and you know what your days are gonna look like and you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, I think it's a huge part of your fulfillment just as a person too. So yeah, like I said, I think it's all one big interconnected picture with your fitness, your sleep, your nutrition, your mindset, and then obviously your habits tie right into that. Like how do you structure your day to get where you want to go, no matter if it's as an athlete or as a person that just wants to live a long and healthy life. And I think that's another topic we want to touch on today is so once we establish like good habits and stuff and we know okay this is a good foundation to have to change your lifestyle, but then how would you say what are like main pillars to train for health and longevity rather than like a lot of people do now, it's just for looks?
Mm.
What do you think is the difference between training for looks, training for life, and longevity and a healthy life instead?
I mean, like in my opinion, like you should never your main goal shouldn't be looks, right? Like it should be looks should be I mean it is important, right? And it can like serve as a source for motivation and it can be your why. Because with everything you do you gotta like if you want to stick to a routine, you gotta find your why. And initially like looking good can be your why. But for me, the looks, it's a byproduct of what we do. And like if a client came to me and if that client was like, okay, like could you coach me? My goal is to lose 20 kg in that and that like that short amount of time, right? Or I want to have that much more muscle mass. Like I wouldn't want to do that. Like like I wouldn't work with that client in that way. I try to convince him or her of my way, which is like we're gonna focus on like learning how to move. I'll try to teach you how to move like the most important lifts, the most important movement patterns, and I would try to establish like a love for moving, and a love for the process. And then once we've established that love for the process and love for moving and lifting and running, like then gonna realize Like the body's gonna change. Like, if you do it right, the body's gonna change. But yeah, focusing on looks and weight and muscle mass can be um yeah, can be kind of toxic because like that's something that you're not always able to control. There's so many factors that play into it, like and you're never gonna look the same throughout the year. And yeah, I think you should focus on teaching movement, and you should try to fall in love with fitness, and then looks are a byproduct of that. What do you think?
I agree. I agree 100%. I think when I started, maybe, and we've talked about this in the first episode actually, I think back then it was definitely the looks were involved because you see other guys with a six pack running around or they're just shredded and you're like, oh, wow, that's cool. But, going on the journey of training and doing my thing, kind of going down different rabbit holes, first just training, then dialing my nutrition in and getting into the mental side of things as well. I think then at one point you realize that it really isn't about looks. And that came pretty early to me. Like I just realized how good a workout served me in the morning before I went to work, for example. Like that was like the first real thing that I realized, like how good I felt throughout the day when I got a workout in the morning before work. And that is what really changed me. So then I just built onto that and I knew that that was good for me. I knew that there was good outcomes. I changed my nutrition and I realized, wow, like my mood has changed depending on how good I eat as well. So essentially, you're just trying to optimize your state, your mental state, your physical state, and then also looking at your longevity and just thinking what actually serves the purpose for me to live a long and healthy life. And that's definitely not bodybuilding or or just putting on a lot of muscle or just trying to be very skinny. It's really, like you said, is to be able to move well, to know how to move, have a certain amount of strength to, keep your muscle mass. Your muscle mass is like an indicator of your longevity in the end. I mean, that's where your metabolism lives. That's where your health lives in the end. And if you have a healthy, strong body, you're more likely to have a healthy, conditioned body. That means your heart is going to be more active and more healthy. And you're able to condition yourself too and train your heart because your heart is a muscle too in the end. And then obviously you want to incorporate some mobility and stuff. And I feel like once you do all these things, automatically you'll look at the side of nutrition too and see like, oh, this is the stuff that's good for me. This is how I should feel myself if I want to live a long and healthy life. And once you get into that role of things that you look at, everything you do in the end is for yourself and for like a healthy and long life. I think that really changed my mindset too. I enjoy every time when I go to the gym. I enjoy every time when I go for a run, even though when it hurts. I still realize like, oh, that's just part of it. That's just one of the days, Like I'm gonna be doing this stuff for the rest of my life, hopefully. So not always gonna be great, not always gonna be it's not always gonna be bad. But just being able to push through it anyways because you know what the outcome is gonna serve you. And I think that's where really people have to realize the difference between training for looks and just training for like the surface level reasons or really doing it for yourself. It's actually, I've listened to a few podcasts very recently. I don't know if you have heard about Mark Hyman. He's a doctor and he's basically like a leader of functional medicine,
Mm.
what they call it now, which is basically they don't treat the symptoms like we do in our normal medicine. They treat the causes like way before. So like if you're diabetic, they don't give you like a diabetes prescription or whatever you need for an insulin prescription. They like he'll actually go and look like why is this person diabetic? Obviously because they had a bad diet for the majority of their life, or maybe it's genetic. But he kind of looks at those things instead of treating the symptoms. And I think that makes a lot of sense if you think about it. If you can avoid getting sick, if you can avoid like having to take prescription medicine, that means you're doing something right, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's just what a healthy lifestyle brings around, especially staying active, keeping your heart conditioned, and also eating well. The I feel like we live in a world with so many temptations and so many garbage products. Actually, like if you walk around the grocery store and you just look at the packaging and what's actually in most of the processed stuff, it's really shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it definitely is important nowadays to to think about that and to think where you want to be in 30, 40 years. Like, how do you want your life to look like? Do you want to be able to move and have a quality of life, or do you just gonna enjoy now and not put any work in and then pay for it later on, you know?
Definitely. Yeah. I like that you said that bodybuilding is not healthy. I really not a big fan of bodybuilding, and doesn't mean I don't respect bodybuilding. I think bodybuilders like takes like a huge amount of discipline to get where those guys are. And they might take substances, but like still you gotta work incredibly hard. You gotta be super, super focused and disciplined to be a bodybuilder. But I still I don't like the sport, and this is because like for me these guys are not like in my different like from my point of view, or like coming from my definition of fitness and athleticism, these guys are not athletes. They might be like if you apply a different definition of fitness and the term athlete, but for me, an athlete and fitness, like it comes down to a mix and like it's all about balancing, right? Like fitness and athleticism, like there's so many components that come into it, right? Obviously, there's like there's strength, which is obviously like influenced by
Mhm.
mass. But then there's speed, like there's mobility, there's power, there's coordination, there's balance, there's all of these elements, right? That influence each other. With bodybuilding, like your sole focus is on muscle mass, right? And muscle mass to a point where it negatively influences all these other factors, right? Which is why bodybuilding is not fitness. Bodybuilding doesn't equal fitness. It doesn't because it's not healthy, right? It's not good for your body. Like all this muscle mass and your heart has to support that. Like it can't be healthy. Like same goes for all other extreme sports and high performance sports. There's some it's a spectrum, right? There's some high performance sports that are less healthy. Some are okay. Like for example, like running a marathon for like 42 kilometers. Does that help you age well? No, it doesn't. Right, and this is why I love high rocks. It's so like it's on the healthier side of the spectrum, I'd say. Obviously, if you go to an extreme, you wanna do high performance high rocks. Does that help you age well? Well, probably not.
Mhm.
But the negative consequences you can minimize them to a certain degree if you train right. Obviously, the healthiest sport or the healthiest thing to do exercise wise is moderate intensity fitness and moderate intensity workouts a couple of times a week. They figured out with the blue zones, right, where people age best. And then like you gotta eat a lot of what is it like seafood
Mhm.
and train a couple of times per week, but like moderate intensity exercise. That's the healthiest thing to do, but obviously like that's boring, you know? So like find your sport, like try to aim for performance. Doesn't have to be high performance, but if you aim for high performance, like do it in a field like where you can minimize the negative consequences. But yeah, like going back to fitness, like it's a balancing act. There's so many factors playing into it. And just focusing on muscle mass obviously is not the way to go. So that was my little rant about bodybuilding. There you go.
I agree.
Still, massive respect for those guys.
I
They
totally.
work hard.
The people are when they're passionate about it. I mean, if that's what they want to do, I think it's so great. Like, I think it's very easy to slip into the unhealthy part of bodybuilding. Just when you're in it, I'm not saying everyone is unhealthy who's doing bodybuilding, but like it's very easy to slip into it. Like you said, it's carrying that much muscle mass can't be healthy, and it takes away from all the other aspects of your fitness too. So whoever likes it's great. Not for me necessarily. Like I'd rather be fit and be able to run and be able to perform in these races that we have got coming up. But yeah, I guess there's a downfall to everything that you do, a price you pay. But yeah, the price you pay, a lot of that price is actually also yeah, recovery, like how you recover. Like you spend a lot of days sore, you spend a lot of days trying to recover from a hard training session. I feel right now leading up to a marathon, we talked about before the podcast briefly there, that I feel it right now because I have some high volume weeks coming up right now, or like ahead, and so I can definitely feel I'm drained, and it's my body's adapting. But that is even more so the reason to dial in on some other things, some other good habits that we've talked about earlier. And the biggest habits for me are definitely my sleep. It's like my number one recovery tool. I don't think people realize how important and how much you can actually control your sleep, and yeah, how much it will help you to recover and then perform again, and how much it will help you to see progress too, like no matter what you're working towards, right? And I think these habits of sleep, nutrition, they come in really good. So why don't you share some of your ways? How do you track your sleep? How do you track your nutrition maybe, or how do you make sure that all these things are also dialed in while you're preparing for your races?
Sure, man. Nutrition wise, I just view it as fuel. Obviously, I always try to cover all the macros that I need, like carbs, fats, proteins. Like for me, a meal is only a meal if there's protein in it. Like mornings, usually high carb meals. Around lunch or I usually only eat fats, so keto,
Hmm.
just because I'm taking so many carbs in the morning and then evening as well. But obviously always depends. For example, if you want to train like your fat oxidation, right, then you might want to do a zone 2 cardio session where your glycogen stores just like glycogen, which is like the stored form of carbohydrates, right? Where these stores are emptied, which teaches your body to use fat um as a source for performance. But yeah, I'll just always try to cover the macros and micros. Yeah, try to eat well. Yeah, I think that's it. For nutrition really. And sleep wise, I could do better. I was looking at my screen before I go to bed.
Yeah,
Um, I always try to get my 7-8 hours, but my evening routine could be much better because I obviously know what to do. Um, but yeah, I haven't built that healthy evening routine.
I agree.
Let's say like that.
Sometimes with the evening routine too. Like my morning routine is pretty dialed in, but like if I take it easy on one of the routines, definitely the evening one where, like I usually try to put my phone away somewhat like an hour before I go to bed, but sometimes just with so much going on, you don't get to, right? And there's definitely always things to improve on. I agree. Do you track your sleep at all? I know you're wearing that track
I
your sleep.
used to track my sleep. I used to wear Whoop
Yeah.
until I lost the charger, and I went.
I've met so many people, like I met a few people that lost their chargers and that like was their Whoop journey over.
Yeah, man, like I just couldn't get myself to buy one for 50 euros. I was
Yeah,
like, nah, okay, I'll just use my watch then. But honestly, like it frustrated me.
the Whoop.
Like tracking my Whoop sleep. I Because I always told me that I was sleeping. I wasn't sleeping enough, and I knew that. But it was so frustrating, so I stopped looking at it.
Sometimes it
Because
felt
if I don't sleep enough, I know it. I know I can do better. I don't need Whoop to tell me every single day.
agree. I agree with that. But sometimes like, I wear the Whoop and I'm actually charging it right now.
Oh, you want to brag with your charger, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, I've got one, buddy. No, what it does for me really, it like obviously sometimes it pisses me off too because I look at it and like, yeah, no, like that was obvious. But what it really does help me with is tracking the habits that lead to good results. So like if I can, for example, it tracks like how I ate or like I kind of know how I ate and that I had a good workout. And if I need to, for example, if I would need to recover for a race day now and I get myself ready and I found out so many steps I need to do where I know for sure I'm gonna get like a good night's sleep. Whether it be my nutrition before, my activity the day before, sleeping in a dark room, like a completely dark room, not even having like little lights from your chargers or TVs. Like those are even little things that will disturb my sleep. Having your room at a good temperature, like all that kind of stuff, your sleep hygiene, it makes such a huge difference. Like I feel like now I can really control if I need like an 8 hour sleep with 50% of that being restorative sleep. Like, I can facilitate that now and think that I could make it happen pretty consistently if I really wanted to. And that is a good tool to have. I feel like just knowing what you should do, not saying I'll do it every night. So we're still both working on that, I guess. But just knowing what really works for your body as well, right?
Yeah. No, it can be a useful tool for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think yeah, those are all things, especially when I talk to clients or when I talk to the team CBU where I was at the team just now. The first step is always people want to try and get fit and get healthy or like get into fitness also because it's like a mainstream thing now and you want to be part of it.
Mm,
And then usually after they start the fitness stuff, they realize like, oh, like it actually works way better if I dial in my nutrition as well and if I get my daily protein intake in. And then after a while, they'll realize, oh, I really need to sleep. Like if I want to go tomorrow and have a good workout, like I can't just work with 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep because I didn't sleep much the night before, that kind of stuff. So I think you really get to know your body and how it works
mm,
much better in the process of working out. Like it will lead you to many other topics that are also very important, obviously, and a big part of it. And I think that will also always have you implement new habits and new routines and new good things that just make you overall a better person, a healthier person, and will go a long way for yourself and in your life. I feel like the best things have happened since I'm able to do all these things that are so good for me and like keeping a good mindset, keeping a positive mindset, and working towards my goals. I think all these things help me a lot. Staying on top of that.
yeah. No, for sure. There's one last thing I'd like to touch upon, and we kind of have already, but like I just want to put that out there. And maybe it's not an unpopular opinion, but like some people might disagree with it. Like maybe you will. But I feel like motivation, like talking about, for example, talking about like routine, like a fitness, like workout routine, going to the gym, like sticking to a program, like discipline. And we talked like, about how discipline is more important than motivation. But also, I feel like also discipline and like having a strong why will only get you so far. It will help you get in shape and maybe stick to your routine and your program for a couple of weeks and months and even years. But it will only take you so far. I feel like if you want to be good at something, and now I'm making the distinction between like just following a program, getting in shape, and really like like being good at what you do. Right? For example, like being a good runner. You gotta find like you gotta you gotta try to have fun as well. And this is gonna take a while. At first, like it's not gonna be fun. Like if you start a new program, it's not gonna be fun. You have fun when you're good at something. And if you start a program or you start going to the gym, you start doing high hikes, you start running, you're not gonna be good at it. Where's the fun? Like running and going to the gym and training, like it's all painful. Like in running, there's a lot of pain. It's not like playing football where you have like instant gratification or joy when you score a goal. It's like full of pain. So where's the fun in that? Usually you're fun when you're good at something, but like in the beginning you're not. How can you how can you still find joy in it? Because you need to find joy even when you're not good at it. Uh, and that's up to the individual person to find that answer to that question. For example, for me, I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm a good runner. I'm good like high athlete. So that gives me joy. Like I also fell in love with the process. Like I know all the scientific principles and like every day I'm like reading articles, and I'm trying to learn more, right? And I know the science behind like and the theories, and I just love applying them to myself and then like see how I develop and like I find joy in that. Like throwing a ball, like doing wall balls, throwing a ball at a target. Not fun, but I know where it's going to get me, and that I find joy in that. And that's like one of the most important things for me as well. Like if you're a beginner, like going to the gym, like it's gonna be painful and it's gonna suck, and you're not gonna be good at it. So that like trying to be good at it, like obviously you want to be good at it, but that's not gonna happen in the beginning. So that can't be your source of joy, being good at it. You need to find a different source, and that's whether that's falling in love with the process and seeing how you develop or anything else. Like you gotta find that source if you want to be good at it. And if you want to do that for life, it needs to be fun. Like dedication can get you to a certain place, but if you want to do that for life, it needs to be fun. And where that fun and joy comes from, that's up to you to figure that out.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And like you said, I think that's to find that why is for everyone to find out themselves and like what makes it fun for them. For me, one big thing is always just looking at myself, how I developed and how I actually have fun. Like, let's say, just going to the gym and showing up for myself, no matter if the workout went good or not good, but just like saying something, like saying, I'm going to the gym tomorrow, and then following through with it, and then say, I'm going for that run and following through with it, like finding the joy and just showing up and being like, yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
See, that's a good source.
That gives you a lot of confidence too, because before maybe I was looking in the mirror and I was like, well, I'm kind of like taking shortcuts and I'm not doing like the full thing and I'm taking it easy here and easy there. And like today I didn't do at all what I was said I was gonna do and what I know what's right for me. But once you start doing these things, you actually gives you a lot of confidence because you know you can back yourself, you know you can trust yourself that you show up for yourself. And that's one thing that I really enjoyed on that journey. But yeah, it becomes fun. And then, like you said, once you do it for long enough, you'll get good at it, and then it becomes real fun.
No, no, agreed.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of today's conversation on yeah, building a good routine for health and how we look at routines, how we use them for us. And yeah, in the end, it's definitely not just about chasing perfection. It's about showing up and staying consistent and building a system that works for you, like you said before too. That, like not every system's gonna work for everyone, but if you can find one that works for you, I think that's great. Yeah, thanks, Leon. Thanks for tuning in to our episode 3 of the Relentless Theory podcast. We're gonna get to our first 5 soon here. This is going quick. I like it. And yeah, I think I've got great value from this episode. I hope everyone who's listening to it got some value from it too. Yeah, on to the next one, my friend.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.